Ptolemy XV Philopator Philometor Caesar, better known by the nicknames Caesarion and Ptolemy Caesar, was the last king of the Ptolemaic dynasty of Egypt, who reigned jointly with his mother Cleopatra VII of Egypt, from September 2, 44 BC. Between the death of Cleopatra, on August 12, 30 BC, up to August 23, 30 BC, the time his death was ordered by Octavian, who would become the Roman Emperor Augustus. It is unknown as to whether Octavian's order was carried out successfully. He was the eldest son of Cleopatra VII, and possibly the only son of Julius Caesar, after whom he was named. Life. Caesarion was born in Egypt on June 23, 47 BC. His mother Cleopatra insisted that he was the son of Julius Caesar. Caesarion was said to have inherited Caesar's looks and manner, but Caesar apparently did not officially acknowledge him. Caesar's supporter Gaius Oppius wrote a pamphlet which attempted to prove that Caesar could not have fathered Caesarion. Nevertheless, Caesar may have allowed Caesarion to use his name. The matter became contentious when Caesar's adopted son Octavian came into conflict with Cleopatra. Caesarion spent 2 of his infant years, from 46 to 44 BC, in Rome, where he and his mother were Caesar's guests. Cleopatra hoped that her son would eventually succeed his father as the head of the Roman Republic as well as of Egypt. After Caesar's assassination on March 15, 44 BC, Cleopatra and Caesarion returned to Egypt. Caesarion was named co-ruler by his mother on September 2, 44 BC at the age of 3, although he was king in name only, with Cleopatra keeping actual authority all to herself. Cleopatra compared her relationship to her son with the Egyptian goddess Isis and her divine child Horus. During the tense period leading up to the final conflict between Mark Antony and Octavian, the two of them initially shared control of the Republic in a triumvirate with Lepidus. Lepidus was forced into retirement by Octavian in 36 BC. Octavian and Mark Antony were then left in control of the western and eastern provinces respectively. There is no historical record of Caesarion between 44 BC until the donations of Antioch in 36 BC. 2 years later he also appears at the donations of Alexandria. Cleopatra and Antony staged both donations to donate lands dominated by Roman Parthia to Cleopatra's children, the 11-year-old Caesarion and the 4-year-old twins Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene II, initially in 36 BC, and in 34 BC including the 2-year-old Ptolemy Philadelphus. Octavian gave public approval to the donations of Antioch in 36 BCE, which have been described as an Antonian strategy to rule the East, making use of Cleopatra's unique royal Seleucid lineage in the regions donated. In 34 BC, Antony granted further eastern lands and titles to Caesarion and to his own 3 children with Cleopatra in the donations of Alexandria. Caesarion was proclaimed a god, son of a god and king of kings. This grandiose title was unprecedented in the management of Roman client-king relationships, and could be seen as threatening the greatness of the Roman people. Antony also declared Caesarion to be Caesar's true son and heir. This declaration was a direct threat to Octavian. These proclamations partly caused the fatal breach in Antony's relations with Octavian, who used Roman resentment over the donations to gain support for war against Antony and Cleopatra. After the defeat of Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, Cleopatra seems to have groomed Caesarion to take over as sole ruler without his mother. She may have intended to go into exile, perhaps with Antony, who may have hoped that he would be allowed to retire as Lepidus had. Caesarion reappears in the historical record in 30 BC, when Octavian invaded Egypt and searched for him. Cleopatra may have sent Caesarion, at the time 17 years old, to the Red Sea port of Berenice for safety, possibly as part of plans for an escape to India. He may have been sent years earlier, but the sources are unclear. Plutarch does say that Caesarion was sent to India, but also that he was lured back by false promises of the Kingdom of Egypt. Caesarion, who was said to be Cleopatra's son by Julius Caesar, was sent by his mother, with much treasure, into India, by way of Ethiopia. There Rodan, another tutor like Theodorus, persuaded him to go back, on the ground that Octavian, Caesar invited him to take the kingdom. Octavian captured the city of Alexandria on August 1, 30 BC, the date that marks the official annexation of Egypt to the Roman Republic. Around this time Mark Antony and Cleopatra died, traditionally said to be by suicide, though murder has been suggested. Details of the narratives in Plutarch are generally challenged and not taken literally. Caesarion's guardians, including his tutor, either were themselves lured by false promises of mercy into returning him to Alexandria or perhaps even betrayed him. The records are unclear. Octavian is supposed to have had Caesarion executed in Alexandria, following the advice of Aristodemus, who said too many Caesars is not good. It is popularly thought that he was strangled, but the exact circumstances of his death have not been documented. Octavian then assumed absolute control of Egypt. The year 30 BC was considered the first year of the new ruler's reign according to the traditional chronological system of Egypt. Depictions. Few images of Caesarion survive. He is thought to be depicted in a partial statue found in the harbour of Alexandria by Frank Gaudio in 1997. He is also portrayed twice in relief, as an adult pharaoh, with his mother on the Temple of Hathor at Dendera. His baby image appears on some bronze coins of Cleopatra. Egyptian names. In addition to his Greek name and nicknames, Caesarion also had a full set of royal names in the Egyptian language. Iwapanetia Entinhim, Seti Puntar, Ermatonra, Sekaman Carmen. These are usually translated as heir of the god who saves, chosen of Ptah, carrying out the rule of Ra, or son of righteousness, living image of Ammon. Ancestry. Ancestors of Caesarion. Caesarion as fictional character. Caesarion is the main character of the historical novel Cleopatra's Heir by Gillian Bradshaw. In the cartoon album Asterix and Son, Cleopatra leaves an infant Caesarion in the care of the invincible Gaul Asterix, to protect him from being murdered by Brutus. Caesarion is depicted in several episodes of the TV series Rome. He first appears in the episode Caesarion as a newborn child and plays a major role in the final episode, the Patravostro, in which he is rescued from death by Titus Pullo, leaving with him to an unknown future. The series strongly implies that Pullo, who had sex with Cleopatra before she met Caesar, is the boy's real father. The title of the final episode, the last words we hear Pullo say to Caesarion before the series ends, alludes to this.